Part 22. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Fu Zituo. Chapter 211. The Abyss of the Ghost-Rich Soul Abyss. The ghosts here are much stronger than those in the upper layer. The ghost howl was in his ears again, and Xuanhuan defeated and devoured a ghost that had not yet lost its intelligence. It could not remember how long it had stayed in the ghost-rich soul abyss. Perhaps it was a day, or perhaps a month. It also could not remember which ghost it had devoured. The only thing it knew was, now it was deeply entangled by ghost energy, and its originally snow-white fur had been completely replaced by black. The hostility formed by the many ghosts made its eyes red. Perhaps because the pain in its body and soul was too strong, it did not lose its mind, but became more sober. Zhang Chen. It whispered softly. This name gave it great courage, allowing it to rush towards another ghost. And after devouring this ghost, it felt it was about to break through to the Demon King. It found an open space and raised its head and let out a fox howl. The whistling sound slowly spread out, like a ghost sound, like crying and laughing. Suddenly, the surrounding ghost energy mixed with rich spiritual energy, madly drilled into its body. At this moment, the entire ghost-rich soul abyss seemed to be trembling. With the ghost energy and spiritual energy entering the body, Xuanhuan's figure continued to grow, and in an instant it became as slender as an adult, and the black hair shone with a strange luster under the moonlight above the head. Then, a brand new foxtail began to appear. At the same time, Xuanhuan's eyes became dull, and all memories and emotions gradually became blank at the moment the foxtail grew. When Zhang Chen's name and figure were gradually replaced by blankness, it suddenly woke up. It bit the newly born foxtail. Ghost fire emerged from its mouth, instantly burning the new foxtail, and finally it was directly torn off. Puff! In an instant, blood overflowed. The bright red blood spread out, dotted with an extremely eye-catching bright red in the dark ghost-rich soul abyss. Ah! Spitting out its own foxtail, Xuanhuan screamed miserably. Foxtail is like life to it. And at the moment of cutting off its own foxtail, it felt an indescribable pain. That pain came from the soul. It was like a pair of big hands, constantly tearing and shredding its soul. The pain was enough to suffocate. But soon, Xuanhuan smiled again. Because the method Grandma said was really effective, although the pain of cutting off its own foxtail was unbearable, it really did not forget Zhang Chen. But this situation did not last too long. The pain had just subsided a little, but Zhang Chen's figure and voice became blurred again. I will not forget, never, the little fox gritted his teeth and growled. After the words fell, it turned its head again, constantly biting and tearing the rest of its foxtail. Every time a tail was bitten off and torn off, it felt like it had died once. But what replaced it was Zhang Chen's increasingly clear face. In the end, the fox's tail was completely broken, leaving only the bloody tail. After everything was done, Xuanhuan was already dying. It lay on the ground, curled up, raised its head slightly, and stared at the bright moon above its head in a daze. In the bright moon, Zhang Chen's smile seemed to be reflected. Sure enough, it's easy. Xuanhuan smiled palely and said, I am indeed a proud fox clan, not a puppet. Before he finished speaking, he fainted and completely lost consciousness. The movement here attracted a large number of ghosts. These ghosts surrounded the fox in front of them, their eyes full of scarlet color. The blood stimulated their strength, and the flesh and blood made them crazy. Just when the ghosts were about to rush up, tear the black fox in front of them into pieces, and taste the flesh and blood that they had not tasted for a long time. The ghostly aura in the distance was overwhelming. A ghost girl dressed in a black silk dress, whose face was as pale as paper but whose facial features were peerless, descended from the sky. Go! The ghost girl spoke softly. Upon hearing this, the ghosts all trembled and really turned into ghost balls and went. The surroundings calmed down again. The ghost girl came to Xuanhuan's side and squatted down. She licked her lips, her expression slightly ferocious. "Nine heavens ghost fox? No, do you want to become a nine nether ghost fox? Eating it should increase your cultivation a lot, right?" But in the end, she gave up the idea. Because the black fox in front of her, although its tail was broken and its vitality was gone, was smiling. The smile was so happy. "Zhang Chen." Xuanhuan muttered in her sleep. "Zhang Chen?" The ghost girl was slightly stunned when she heard this name. She didn't know Zhang Chen, but she was interested in this man named Zhang Chen. Although she was a ghost, she had extraordinary experience. Naturally new. "I think it's because of Zhang Chen that the nine heavens fox in front of me can smile so happily and dare to defy fate. Well, he should be a good man." The ghost girl nodded. "There are too few good men in this world. Especially good men who are handsome, there are even fewer." The ghost girl didn't know how many years she had stayed in the ghost-rich soul abyss. Whether she was alive or now, she has been looking for a man who is worthy of her. "If that Zhang Chen is also good looking, maybe I can snatch him to be my husband," the ghost girl thought again. "I think this is a good idea." She waved her sleeves, wrapped Xuanhuan with a ball of ghost energy, and floated away. Before leaving, she raised her head. Looking at the top of the ghost-rich soul abyss, he showed a strange smile. "Beside the ghost-rich soul abyss. This female ghost should be the same as me, both in the late Nirvana realm," the six-tailed old woman whispered softly after noticing the female ghost's sight. With her cultivation, even if she was here, she could still rely on her spiritual sense to detect Xuanhuan's every move. And when the female ghost appeared with bad intentions, she actually had the idea of taking action. Fortunately, the female ghost finally changed her mind and chose to take Xuanhuan away, otherwise she would really have to fight to the death. At that time, it was a small matter to make enemies with the female ghost, but Xuanhuan's idea of using the nether fire to refine the soul would definitely be completely hopeless. "Hey, granddaughter, this may be your fate." The old woman shook her head and sighed. "It is indeed fate." Xuanhuan did something that was almost impossible. The female ghost, who was not easy to mess with, did not kill Xuanhuan, but took her to the deepest part of the ghost-rich soul abyss, where the nether fire was. The old woman knew it very well. This time, Xuanhuan cut off all her foxtails, and the injuries she suffered were too severe. She would have to sleep for at least several months. And when Xuanhuan wakes up from her sleep, if the female ghost is willing to help, Xuanhuan will definitely choose to burn herself with the ghost fire and refine her soul with the nether fire, and completely become a ghost fox of the nine abyss. By then, her granddaughter will only have a few hours of life, and then her soul will be scattered. The old woman couldn't bear it, but she couldn't stop it. Because this is Xuanhuan's choice. Even if it means death, she wants to make the choice. "Is my ghost fox clan really guilty?" Looking up at the sky, the old woman murmured. The moment she finished speaking, she disappeared from the spot. "There is no point in staying here. Even if the female ghost suddenly kills Xuanhuan, she can't stop it in the first time if the two are at the same level. Rather than sitting there again and wasting her life, it is better to leave." As a grandmother, the only thing she can do now is to return to the clan and extend her life as much as possible. Then, wait for the day when Xuanhuan transforms into Xuanyu and emerges from the ghost-rich soul abyss. That is rebirth, but also death. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Tuo. Chapter 212. Zhang Chen has been upset recently. If you tell me the reason. That is, he has been feeling uneasy since he saw Xuanhuan that day. He worries that he is poisonous. Then Xuanhuan also went crazy. Fortunately, Many days passed and the little fox never appeared again. Judging from the current situation, it seemed that he was overthinking. But still upset. Eat me 100 punches. After beating up a member of the ghost control sect who suddenly came to challenge him, Zhang Chen finally felt better. This is the third ghost controlling sect member he has encountered in recent times. He has always hated the ghost control sect. Because of the ninth reincarnation, and because of the ghost control sect, he has taken many scapegoats. In this life, although he is a villain, he still needs revenge when he deserves it. So when it comes to beating up members of the ghost control sect, he doesn't hesitate at all. Sometimes when he felt good about it, he would let Lin Mubai and Zhang Hu enjoy the game. This time too. Mubai, Zhang Hu, you two come together and beat him to death. Seeing that the Yugui sect members were still struggling, Zhang Chen gave the order directly. Okay. Lin Mubai and Zhang Hu were immediately gearing up. Under the relay between the two, in less than a moment, the ghost control sect member was already cold. Zhang Hu once again used his expertise and burned the corpse to eliminate traces. Elder brother, where should we go next? Zhang Hu asked after everything was done. Of course it's Lanyun sect, Zhang Chen replied instantly. The reason why I chose Lanyun sect is because it is a righteous sect. Compared with the demonic path, there is no doubt that people in the righteous path are more suitable for him to bully, and it is easier for him to obtain system rewards. Now that Chen Sheng is injured, it is not appropriate for a first-class sect to cause trouble. But the second-rate sects have no such concerns. After all, Xiao Hongii alone is enough to sweep through many second-rate sects in the Central Territory. Again, who asked the disciples of Lanyun sect to mess with him? You know, when the Lanyun sect disciple suddenly came to kill him, he was shocked. Lanyun sect must take full responsibility for this. No matter what, we have to compensate him for some mental damages. Haha. Thinking of this, Zhang Chen laughed. He is very sure that he will be able to get a lot of system rewards by then. Ken. Just when everyone was about to enter the realm of Lanyun sect, they heard a piece of news. Lanyun sect was destroyed. And the one who destroyed Lanyun sect was none other than Juyan sect. This news made Zhang Chen stunned. Zhang Hu and Lin Mubai also looked confused. Even Xiao Hongii, who was appearing and disappearing behind, suddenly froze. At this moment, there was only one thought in everyone's mind. What's the situation? After coming back to his senses, Zhang Chen quickly asked Zhang Hu to go get detailed information. Shortly after, Zhang Hu turned back and stamped his feet anxiously. Elder brother, everyone in Juyan sect is crazy. The ancestor personally led the team and directly launched a war against the Lanyun sect under the pretext of looking for Lulin. Not only did he use the suppressing sky realm to blast away the Lanyun sect's sect formation, he also pinned the Lanyun ancestor to the ground and hammered him. It's not over yet. After Lanyun sect was destroyed, 12 supreme elders completely let themselves go and looted all the Lanyun sect's sect heritage. It is said that even its sect-suppressing artifact fell into the hands of our sect. The Supreme Elder is the most exaggerated. It is said that he once held the Lanyun sect's sect-suppressing artifact. It must be Lulin's deep love. Not only that, the Peak Masters once again looted all the Lanyun sect's forces in the name of looking for Lulin. There are rumors now that the Juyan sect is a group of lunatics, and they are all robbers. Elder brother, our clan's 1,000-year reputation has been ruined in one day. Zhang Chen's eyes almost dropped when he heard these words. How? Juyan sect has awakened the robber attribute, and will rob anyone who is unhappy? Do you want to be such a villain? After all, this is a 1,000-year-old orthodox section. Even if it is really crazy, shouldn't we still worry about our face and exercise some restraint? Besides, who is Lulin? Crazy, crazy, all crazy. Zhang Chen's head hurt. He just wanted to ask for some mental damage compensation, but this group of lunatics from Julian sect actually wiped out all his information. He is simply more villain than him. This is to take his path as a villain and leave him with nowhere to go. Senior brother, we should go as soon as possible to restore the sect's reputation, Zhang Hu spoke again. Zhang Chen simply rolled his eyes. Why should he restore the sect's reputation? Moreover, what reputation does the Julian sect have now? The demon sect is ashamed of itself. No, I can't be compared with these lunatics, Zhang Chen said anxiously. I'll set off quickly to the ghost control sect. Why? Didn't senior brother say that he didn't want to complete some sect mission? Lin Mubai was puzzled. Are you stupid? After kicking him, Zhang Chen said, there are rumors everywhere now that Julian sect has become a demon sect and is attacking the righteous path everywhere. Then I must be more ruthless, not even the demon sect's own people will be spared. In this way, the reputation will be even greater. That's it, Lin Mubai suddenly realized. Zhang Hu also understood. Even though I understand it, I still don't understand it. After all, notoriety is something that still needs to be fought for? Is it glorious? No one dared to object to Zhang Chen's decision. Soon, everyone set off again to the ghost control sect. A few days later. Something's wrong. Zhang Chen suddenly stopped and frowned. For such a long time in the past, many people have come forward to challenge him, but this time, why is there no one? Not only that. Occasionally when they passed by a certain city, they would see many monks pointing and pointing. Looking up at the big flags in the hands of Zhang Hu and Lin Mubai, Zhang Chen understood. The problem arises in the words 9 yan and 9 peaks. To be honest, no one dares to be a member of the Julian sect now. After all, they are all a group of robbers and lunatics. Zhang Chen never expected it. 9 reincarnations. Due to his villain aura, his notoriety has more or less affected the Julian sect. But in this life, the bad reputation of Julian sect has actually affected him. Zhang Hu, change the words on the flag. Change it to words that are concise and concise. It is best to quickly attract hatred without revealing our identity, Zhang Chen ordered quickly. Okay, Zhang Hu nodded and followed the order. Soon, a monk from the upper fourth realm passed over Zhang Chen and others. Overly curious, the monk first glanced at the flag in Lin Muibai's hand and wrote, "My senior brother has the appearance of a great emperor." He frowned, but with the idea that doing more was better than doing less, he did not act rashly. Then, he looked at the flag in Zhang Hu's hand and wrote, "What are you looking at? Rubbish. Damn it. Can you bear this? Junior Xuanhuan, how dare you call me trash? Take your life." The monk became angry on the spot and rushed down. Well. Sensing the opponent's cultivation level, Zhang Chen kicked Zhang Hu. The hatred is indeed in place, but this is a map cannon. Any cultivation level or person can be attracted. As for fighting against the upper four realms, Zhang Chen said that this kind of thing is too troublesome and not suitable for his opponent. "Master," he turned around and shouted. Then, I saw the phoenix fire surging into the sky, and the monk was already burned into charcoal before he even touched Zhang Chen. The behavior conforms to the villain setting. Reward, Yuquan Ghost Crystal. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 213. Lanyuan Sect. After the war, this place was in a mess, with only the sect master's hall in the center still standing. At this moment, a group of captives of the Lanyuan sect were gathering in front of the sect master's hall. The old man at the head is none other than the ancestor of Lanyun, named Fan Tong. His cultivation level cannot reach the second level of the four realms, the creation realm. There was chaos all around. Fan Tong and the other disciples were all blocked in their cultivation. What the hell is this? Fan Tong looked helpless. After being reduced to a second-rate sect, Lanyun sect has always been cautious. As the ancestor of the sect, he often told the disciples of the sect to stay away from anyone who seemed to have a high profile at first glance. Even if we take action, we can only pick some unknown people. In this way, it will not bring disaster to the sect. But who would have expected? Even though they were so cautious, they still faced the disaster of annihilation today. In fact, it was not a real annihilation, because most of the disciples of Lanyun sect were seriously injured, and only a few lost their lives in the battle. Fan Tong was very happy about this, but also speechless. He always felt. The disciples of Juyin sect, rather than fighting head-on, seemed to prefer the combat method of intruding in roundabout ways, taking advantage of the chaos to make sneak attacks, and looking for opportunities to knock people unconscious. Especially the 9 peaks of the 9 Yan sect, all of them are good players. Fan Tong once did not believe that Juyin sect had become a demon section after all, everyone is a righteous sect, and he heard the sermons of the ancestor of Juyin 100 years ago. But the fact still slapped him in the face. Today's Juyin sect has become more than just a demon sect. Are they all going to be crazy sects and robbers? Fan Tong felt his heart bleed as he watched the Juyin sect disciples carry away the Lanyun sect. Sudden. Fan Tong saw Xiaoting coming from afar. He was anxious and shouted quickly, "Senior Xiao." Although he is the ancestor of the Lanyun sect, he is not as good as Xiaoting in terms of cultivation, so he naturally has to be called senior. And after hearing this, Xiaoting originally didn't want to answer, but because the two had met once before and for other reasons, he still answered the call. "Senior, what will happen if we wait?" Fan Tong asked quickly. "How do I know?" Xiaoting shook his head and said, "Ancestor's order is for you to wait here. As for how I want to wait for you, I don't know. But Ancestor, his temper has been very bad recently," he added. Fan Tong is convinced of this. Very grumpy indeed. When the ancestor of Juyin pushed him to the ground and hammered him, he thought some madman had escaped. "Senior, Lanyun sect has always been cautious, you have to help me beg for mercy." "We have never seen that Lulin," Fan Tong said again. At this point. In fact, he could also see that the so-called looking for Lulin was probably just an excuse for the Juyin sect. But people are like swordsmen, and I am like fish and meat. In any case, it is still necessary to clarify. "Nonsense," Xiaoting was furious, "I personally saw Lulin enter Lanyun sect, and then he was detained by you and others. I am a witness." "Your sister? Do you want to show off your face?" Fan Tong cursed in his heart. Who doesn't know that Xiaoting, as the supreme elder of Juyin sect, usually lives in seclusion? How could such a person come to Lanyun sect without any problem and witness Lulin being detained? This is a lie, and your face is not red and your heart is not beating. The point is, he can't question it yet. Because the big fist is the last word. "Senior, you must have read it wrong," Fan Tong continued to explain. "Absurd," Xiaoting waved his hand and said loudly, "with my level of cultivation, how could I possibly get it wrong? I am very familiar with that Lulin, he is my sex genius." "Tian Xiao," Fan Tong was slightly stunned and asked back, "Didn't the ancestor of Juyin say earlier that he was a handyman disciple?" "Well." Xiaoting looked embarrassed. "This tone is not right. If I had known this, I would have talked to the Juyin sect people first, and everyone would have colluded with each other to testify. But can you blame him? Cannot. After all, it happened suddenly and he didn't have time to make it up too carefully. Besides, he doesn't know that Lulin either. I just thought of this person and made up a random reason to start the war." Seeing Fan Tong's weird look, the other Lanyuan sect disciples also started talking about it. Then Lu Lin was indeed a handyman disciple of our sect before, but he hid his talent. Yes, that's it. Rolling his eyes, Xiaoting spoke eloquently. Originally, I couldn't tell you the secret, but today, I will let you know how outrageous the mistake I made. Guess what kind of physique Lu Lin has, he asked. How would I know? Fan Tong was confused. Humph, have you ever heard of the human sacred body? Xiaoting hummed. Human holy body. Fan Tong was so frightened that he stuttered. Such a physique is rare in Hangwu. When the emperor sees it, he will rush to accept his disciples. After being surprised, he felt that Xiaoting was talking nonsense. After all, I had never heard of a human being from the Juyan sect before. Madness. Seeing what he was thinking, Xiaoting yelled, such a physique is a secret of our sect, how can it be spread to outsiders? That Lu Lin is our sect's genius, hope. If you detain him without authorization, our sect will naturally recruit any master. Fan Tong and others pouted at the same time, still not believing it. Believe it or not, Xiaoting turned and left. Don't. I believe it, can't I believe it? Fan Tong became anxious and begged for mercy again, but my sect has really never seen that Lu Lin, let alone any human holy body. Still want to quibble? Xiaoting was furious, that recalling treasure mirror is Lu Lin's favorite thing. Now I have both personal evidence and physical evidence. With irrefutable evidence, you still want to deny it? The people of Lanyuan sect were collectively speechless. The damn evidence is irrefutable. This is to save even the frame up, and they are determined to throw dirty water on Lanyuan sect. Don't worry, the ancestor said that as long as you are honest and obedient, your life will not be harmed, Xiaoting said again. This made the people of Lanyuan sect finally have a plan in their hearts. Thank you, Senior. Fan Tong bowed his hands in thanks. No need, it's just a small effort. Xiaoting smiled faintly. By the way, the recalling treasure mirror is bound to the essence and blood of your ancestor. The ancestor ordered you to enter the sect master's hall later and go to control it. The Lanyuan sect members were speechless again. Xiaoting had just said that the recalling treasure mirror belonged to Lu Lin, but now, he doesn't even pretend. As ordered. The situation was stronger than the person, so Fan Tong had to bow his head. Finally, Xiaoting left. Looking at his back, Fan Tong sighed. The former Juyan sect was a well-known righteous section. The former Zhongyao Xiao family was also a well-known righteous family. But now, the Juyan patriarch is like a madman, and this Xiaoting is also like a madman. It's really unpredictable. Fan Tong believed that what Xiaoting said just now was probably nonsense. But the change of Juyan sect was too abrupt, which made him confused. He looked at the young man who had been guarding the Lanyuan sect members. Judging from his clothes, he should be a Chor's disciple of Juyan sect, and asked, "My friend, what's your name?" Hearing this, the errant disciple was immediately shocked. Then his eyes were filled with tears. He was Lu Lin. Finally, someone finally noticed him. "My name is Lu." Lu Ling choked up. "It's not important," Fan Tong interrupted with a wave of his hand, and asked, "Just now Senior Xiao said that Lu Lin is the human race's holy body, and the sect hopes, is this true or false?" Lu Lin was speechless for a moment. How should he answer this? He himself didn't know when he became the sect's genius and the human race's holy body. "Blame me, you are just an errant disciple, like a transparent person, how can you know these things?" Fan Tong shook his head again. At this moment, Lu Lin wanted to curse. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Fu Zituo. Chapter 214. Shortly after, Fan Tong was called into the sect master's hall by the ancestor of Juyan. In the huge sect master's hall, there was only one Juyan ancestor, and the latter was holding a palm-sized mirror with an earthy yellow frame and a light blue mirror surface. This thing. It was once the Lanyun sect's divine spiritual weapon, the mirror of memory. Diamond suit. This object can indeed project memories, Julian Ancestor asked. Senior, it's true. The memory mirror can project the true memories of monks and can be used to detect enemy intelligence. But unless it is voluntary, it will only be effective for monks below the upper four realms, Fan Tong replied with his hand in hand. Hearing this, the ancestor of Julian nodded. It is no wonder that the declining Lanyun sect can possess such a worthless divine spiritual weapon without anyone coming to snatch it away. What is the range of memory that this object can project? Julian Ancestor asked again. The memory screen it projects is 4 feet wide and 2 feet high, Fan Tong replied. So small. The ancestor of Julian was dissatisfied. His purpose is to project his 9-life retrospective memory through this precious mirror, so that others can feel his pain. But it's such a small scope. If you want to see it truly and deeply, it can only be viewed by a maximum of 10 people at a time. Senior, I'm telling you the truth, Teacher Fan Tong confessed. Although the reflection mirror is a divine spiritual weapon, it is only a fragment of a certain spiritual treasure in the upper realm and has limited use. Oh, Ancestor Julian raised his eyebrows. You mean, if you put all the pieces together, this thing can become a spiritual treasure? Spiritual treasures are far superior to spiritual weapons in terms of grade and power, and are exclusive to the upper realm. It is said that the power of high-level spiritual treasures can even cover the entire domain. I don't know the specifics, but it is indeed recorded in the sect's ancient books, Fan Tong Tong. Ancestor Julian nodded. Although he looked calm on the surface, he was actually very excited in his heart. He couldn't help but think. If one day, he can put all the fragments together to form a complete mirror of memory, wouldn't it mean that with just one thought, everyone in the entire realm would be like him, constantly watching the 9 generations of memories? This is so wonderful. Perhaps it is possible to designate a certain kind of memory, Julian Ancestor asked again. Yes, Fan Tong didn't even think about it. You only need keywords to place the specified memory. It also has functions such as loop placement, acceleration, slow speed, etc. Of course, the premise is that you are willing. Perfect. Simply perfect. Ancestor Julian was overjoyed. Cough. After coughing lightly to cover up his embarrassment, he immediately summoned all the 12 supreme elders of the Julian sect. He planned to let these supreme elders first experience their own pain. We are all our own, so naturally we are more considerate about him than others. Soon, Xiaoting and others were ordered to appear. The ancestor of Julian threw the mirror of recollection to Fan Tong, indicating that he would start to put into his mind the memory of the recollection of the 9th life. Fan Tong acted as ordered. The doors and windows in the sect master's hall were closed tightly, and all the candles were extinguished. In the dark hall, a screen several feet wide appeared out of thin air. The picture on the screen showed the 9 peaks of the 9 Yan sect, with the 3 characters' first life shining brightly on the sky. In the current scene, Zhang Lian entered the master's school at the beginning of the month and was kowtowing to Xiao Hong'ai and serving tea. Zhang Chen was standing next to Xiao Hong'ai, dressed in white, with a clean and hearty smile that seemed to warm the 4 seasons. The moment they saw Zhang Chen, the 12 supreme elders were collectively shocked. They have never seen Zhang Chen dressed in white, let alone Zhang Chen smiling like this. Ancestor, what is this? Xiao Ting asked in confusion. When his own memory was thrown into his body, the ancestor of Julian could not move, but he could speak. After sighing, the ancestor of Julian said, "This is the truth of the world." The truth? The 12 supreme elders didn't know what it meant, so they could only watch it quietly and couldn't help but take part in it. When they see Zhang Chen was obviously doing good things, but due to various coincidences, he became evil deeds. So that's it? No wonder the ancestor said that we have been planted with inner demons. We are indeed deceived by appearances. Xiaoting was horrified. When they see Zhang Chen spent all his energy refining the Huazuo pill for Zhang Lianyu, but in the end he was called a peeper and was later deprived of the Yuan Dan. Hey, one of the Supreme Elders sighed, we have a deep misunderstanding of Zhang Chen. When they saw again, Zhang Chen has been misunderstood and criticized many times, but he still follows the right path and still treats others with kindness. Xiaoting blamed himself. Because the picture was right, and because of some coincidence, he had an extremely bad attitude towards Zhang Chen. He couldn't help but think. How painful was Zhang Chen himself after experiencing everything. Zhang Chen has been upright throughout his life, but has been misunderstood many times. Ma Wu and others regard themselves as righteous, but their methods are dirty, but they are respected and loved by others. This is unfair. At this moment, many of the Supreme Elders have noticed that God is targeting Zhang Chen. In this regard, they could only sigh helplessly. After all, that is the way of heaven, who can compete with it? And when they see it again, even if Zhang Chen dies, he still wants to save his master, junior brothers and sisters. The 12 Supreme Elders were all struck by lightning. The truth of this world is completely revealed at this moment. Zhang Chen does good deeds and never asks for anything in return, he always does it for others. But such sacrifices and such good deeds only resulted in the death of one's body and soul, and the ending remained unchanged. An unprecedented anger and unwillingness emerged in the hearts of the crowd, and an impulse to go against the will of heaven appeared. But this impulse was quickly suppressed by them. After all, that was going against the will of heaven. And the way of heaven in this world is unshakable, which has become the consensus of all cultivators. The first life ended, and the picture fell into darkness. The great elders sighed. They thought it should be over, but they didn't expect it was just the beginning. Second life. Third life. Fourth life. The picture on the screen has been continuing. In every life, Zhang Chen has been trying his best. In every life, Zhang Chen has been trying to be good. But in every life, Zhang Chen's ending is death at the hands of Lin Feng, and even the Juyan sect was eventually destroyed by other forces. Ninth life. After the end, the elders were completely unable to hold back. They all clenched their fists, gritted their teeth, and their bodies kept shaking. They finally understood. This is the memory of Zhang Chen's previous 9 lives. Although they didn't know why the Juyan patriarch also had this memory, it was reasonable that they couldn't understand some of their ancestors' magical powers since their ancestor was so awesome. The 10th life. Zhang Chen in the picture changed into black clothes. The black clothes were extremely eye-catching. Just by looking at them, the elders felt that their Dao heart seemed to be covered with a layer of black. Quick! Calm your mind. Otherwise, we will fall into madness. Feeling the change in the Dao heart, Xiaoting shouted hurriedly. Hearing this, the other Supreme Elders took action. But they didn't have time to stabilize their Dao hearts. The next 9 life retracing began again. They wanted to close their eyes and stop watching. But they found out. The ancestor was staring at them with a meaningful and threatening look. The look was a little crazy and a little playful. It seemed to say, "Whoever dares to close his eyes, I will break his legs." 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Fu Zituo. Chapter 215. I don't know how long it took. Ha ha ha. Wow, it's so touching. Heaven is cruel, I should hold my sword to the sky. Since there is no distinction between good and evil in this world, how can we talk about good and evil? Rather than being a coward for a lifetime, I would rather be a hero for a while. What the hell? Against the will of heaven. There were roars in the master's hall. Soon, the 12 supreme elders pushed the door open and walked out. The ancestor ordered that the people of Juyan sect, in groups of 10, enter the master's hall one after another. Xiaoting gave the order loudly. Hearing this, the people of Juyan sect were all frightened. They didn't dare. Didn't you see that the supreme elders were fine before entering, but now they have evil eyes and crazy words? Isn't it abnormal at first glance? Although I don't know what I will encounter when I enter, the supreme elders can't bear it, let alone others. Those who violate the order, behead on the spot. Xiaoting's voice sounded again. The disciples were speechless. To put it bluntly, there was no choice. Helplessly, everyone had to follow the order. I don't know how long it took. The people of Juyan sect were really crazy. The head of the sect, Gu Changqing, cried bitterly, and the heads of the peaks were unwilling to give up. Their bloodshot eyes seemed to contain boundless anger. Li Faju, who once took charge of the law enforcement hall, was about to cut his neck when he went out. If others hadn't stopped him in time, he would have died. The most exaggerated one was the people of Zhifeng. After the elder Lu Yang went out, he looked up at the sky and shouted, "The way of heaven is unfair." The other elders and disciples of Zhifeng drew their swords and vowed to defy the heaven in this life. When they heard that someone was going to defy the heaven again, the heaven was unhappy and showed its presence again. In an instant. Boom! The sky and the earth roared, thunder rolled, and dense thunder poured down. But this time, it didn't scare everyone. Zhang Linfen, the leader of Jianfeng Peak, opened the sword box and used the ancient sword to resist the thunder. Jin Ro, the leader of Yishao Peak, threw his contracted beast into the sky and watched the latter being chopped into a charred black. Niu Wu, the leader of Kifeng Peak, waved his hand, and many spiritual weapons gathered together to fight against the thunder. The disciples also formed a formation to fight against the thunder. This scene made the people of Lanyuan sect stunned. But what shocked them even more was yet to come. Fan Tong, the ancestor of Lanyuan, walked out of the sect master's hall and ordered in an unquestionable voice, "Disciples of Lanyuan sect, groups of 10, enter the hall." Ah! Hearing this, the people of Lanyuan sect jumped up in fear. They saw it. Now this sect master's hall is a dragon's den and a tiger's lair. Whoever enters it will go crazy. Knowing this, who dares to enter? Those who disobey, I, the ancestor, will clean up the sect today. Fan Tong roared loudly, and then said, "Those who hinder me from defying the heaven, will be killed." Boom! After that, a thunderbolt struck him directly on the forehead. Fan Tong resisted the thunderbolt with his body. Although he looked embarrassed and his hair was burnt, he was not worried about his life. Seeing this scene, the people of Lanyuan sect were all desperate. They didn't expect that even their own ancestor had gone crazy. In the end, while resisting the thunderbolt, Fan Tong forced the people of Lanyuan sect to enter the sect master's hall. Then, the people of Lanyuan sect also went crazy collectively. They didn't know why they went crazy. After all, the images and memories of the 9 generations of retrospection had little to do with them. The only thing they knew was, those images were engraved in their minds like a brand, which amplified the emotions of unwillingness and anger countless times. And under the influence of these emotions, it was really difficult not to go crazy. Ha ha ha. Suddenly, accompanied by a loud laugh, the ancestor Juyan broke out of the hall with the jade coffin. He stepped on the jade coffin and stood in the void. Looking at the dark clouds pressing down and the thunder in the sky, Juyan Patriarch was not surprised or panicked, but just uttered 2 big words. "Carry the coffin." Okay. Xiaoting jumped up and carried the jade coffin on his back. Then, Juyan Patriarch controlled Xiaoting's body and turned into a giant of 100 feet. The giant resisted the thunder with his flesh and punched the air. In less than a moment, the dark clouds in the sky were blown away, and the thunder disappeared completely before it fell. The ancestor is mighty, everyone shouted loudly. Mighty. In response, Julian Patriarch shook his head. This time, he was able to repel the power of heaven, not because he was mighty, but because this thief god was unwilling to give his all to ants. He took a deep breath, and then his words resounded around. From now on, my Julian sect will be officially renamed as Julian Demon Sect. Oh! The disciples of Julian sect cheered in unison. My Lanyun sect will be renamed Lanyun Demon Sect from now on. We wish to become a subordinate sect of Julian Demon Sect and follow the lead of Demon Sect, Fan Tong also shouted loudly. Oh! The disciples of Lanyun Demon Sect also shouted. Not long after, Julian Patriarch slowly fell down. The two disciples of Julian and Lanyun Demon Sect changed their hatred and became like-minded friends. Putting down the jade coffin, Xiaoting suddenly remembered something. He turned his head to look at Julian Patriarch in the spirit state and asked, Ancestor, so the fact that we were planted with demon seeds by the demon is false? Julian Patriarch was speechless. He was only concerned about letting others feel his pain and completely forgot about it. How could it be fake? The head of the sect, Gu Changqing, arrived and analyzed. The demon seed does exist, otherwise we would not be blinded and misunderstand Zhang Chen for the 9th time. But the object of the demon seed for us is probably not the demon sect, but the heavenly Dao. I think the ancestor should have considered us and felt that the time was not right, so he said it was the work of the demonic Dao. These words were pleasing to the ears. The people of Julian sect felt that it made a lot of sense. The heavenly Dao did take advantage of their sense of justice and blinded their vision, so they kept misunderstanding Zhang Chen. Things like going against the heaven are really scary. If they hadn't watched the 9 Life replay dozens of times this time, they wouldn't have the courage to go against the heaven. Thinking of this, the people of Julian sect all felt something in their hearts. They all bowed to the Julian Patriarch and said, it is a blessing for the Julian sect to have the Patriarch here. Good, very good, the Julian Patriarch smiled from ear to ear and praised, all the disciples of our sect have excellent comprehension and great enlightenment. It is the Patriarch who taught well. Everyone bowed again. After another round of compliments, the people from the Julian and Lanyun demon sects all dispersed. In front of the hall that was originally crowded with people, only Lu Lin was left. Lu Lin blinked blankly. He didn't understand what was going on at all. Because he was forgotten again. He didn't even enter the hall to watch the 9 Life replay. Everyone else was crazy, but he was sober. This sounds like a good thing. But when madness becomes a normal state, the only sober person will definitely wonder. Is he the one who is crazy? No, I want to be crazy too, Lu Lin made a decision. He found the Zhufeng great elder Lu Yang. What? You didn't enter the hall? Lu Yang was shocked at first, but then he said indifferently, one more or one less doesn't matter. By the way, who are you? Lu Lin was speechless. He felt. If this situation continues, maybe he doesn't need to enter the hall, he will be driven crazy sooner or later. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Fu Zituo. Chapter 216. The Ghost Control Sect. Its sect is located in an abyss surrounded by mountains, with only one exit leading to the outside world. In recent days, rumors about the Ghost Control Sect have been spreading. First, it was said that the marriage with Julian sect was about to happen, and then it was said that the marriage team had lost news. Later it was rumored. Not only did the lamp of the first true successor, Yan Maihun, go out, but other true successors who went to inquire about the news also died one after another. This incident made the Yugui sect panic. After all, since the establishment of the Yugui sect, there has never been anything like the successive deaths of true disciples. Now, a short young man with sinister eyes was about to leave the ghost control sect. His name is Gao Long, and he is the second true successor of the ghost control sect. Gao Long has always been cautious and never takes risks. The mission he received this time was to go to Julian sect to gather information. Knowing that this trip was somewhat dangerous, he planned to go around the sect casually, then pretend to be defeated and return to the sect injured. He thought he was very clever. In this way, he would avoid being punished by the sect and would not be in danger of losing his life. After leaving the sect, Gao Long came to the outside of the sect along the narrow mountain stream. He took a deep breath, feeling the sobriety of the air. Just when he was about to take steps, his pupils shrank again. In front of me, I saw a man holding two big flags, which read, "Nobody. He looks like an emperor. The true legend of ghost control, do you dare to fight?" In front of the two big flags, there was a handsome-looking man in black. Gao Long was very angry. Now all cats and dogs can claim to be emperors. Nobody. Knowing that he is a nobody, how dare he speak so brazenly? Although angry, Gao Long did not step forward. He is not stupid. Since the opponent dares to set up a ring at the entrance of the ghost control sect, he must have two brushes. It is better to do less than to do more. It is better to be cautious. Thinking of this, Gao Long planned to take a detour and leave the place of right and wrong. He had only taken a few steps when he saw a savage holding two machetes in one hand, glaring at him fiercely. Xuanhuan realm. Gao Long noticed the cultivation level of the barbarian in front of him and was immediately shocked. "Do you dare to fight me?" the savage said. "Don't dare, don't dare." Gao Long was immediately frightened. He is only at the Earth Yuan realm, so how can he be an opponent at the Tianyuan realm? Me or him, you have to choose one, the savage pointed at himself and the man in black. This. Gao Long's mouth twitched. He was just hanging out and didn't want to fight? Bold. Behind me is the ghost control section. You are so arrogant, aren't you afraid of being surrounded and suppressed by my sect's disciples? Gao Long was a little angry. The savage ignored him and began to sharpen his knife. "I choose him," Gao Long pointed at the man in black. "Don't you think about it?" Lin Mubai asked. "Don't consider it?" "Definitely don't consider it," Gao Long replied instantly. In his opinion, the savage in front of him was in the Tianyuan realm, while the man in black was in the earthly realm. If you had to choose one to fight, any fool would choose the latter. After giving him a pitiful look, Lin Mubai put away the machete. Gao Long gritted his teeth and walked towards the man in black. "May I ask your name?" After arriving, he asked with clasped fists. His answer was, "The mighty Tian Long." The Dharma is overwhelming, and the golden dragon appears. In just an instant, Gao Long was killed. From the beginning to the end, he had no resistance at all and was directly hit by the golden dragon falling from the sky, and his whole body sank into the ground. And just then, the man finally replied, "My name is Zhang Chen, and I am a member of the same family as the Ghost Control sect." Zhang Chen. This name struck my ears, and Gao Long was almost frightened to death. Who doesn't know that Zhang Chen's backstage is the Zhang family? Are you also ridiculously strong? Gao Long never expected it. I thought that as long as I didn't go to Julian sect, my life would not be in danger, but I didn't expect that this danger would come to the door of the sect. As for the family Zhang Chen mentioned, please. Now Yan Mei is so upset, the marriage between Julian sect and Yugui sect is completely panicked, right? Who is your family? Moreover, how can a family come to the opponent's house to set up a ring? Moreover, he beat his family almost to death right from the start. Hurry and tell the leader and ancestor of the ghost sect that I am here with two junior brothers, and each of them wants to marry 10 female disciples of the ghost sect, Zhang Chen said again. 10 for each person. Gao Long was immediately shocked. Is this too much of an appetite? That's right, let Yugui sect prepare 20 handsome junior sisters, and prepare 20 dowries. We are all from the same family, so the dowry does not need to be too luxurious, just 100,000 spiritual stones will be enough, Zhang Chen added. After hearing these words, Gao Long was even more unbelievable. He rubbed his eyes. I don't know why, but I always feel that Zhang Chen's words and deeds at this moment have a sense of being a demon disciple robbing a decent woman. But the problem is, this is the demon sect. Did you get the wrong person? Besides, each dowry is 100,000 yuan, and the total of 20 dowries, doesn't it cost 2 million spiritual stones? Why don't you go and grab it? Gao Long asked loudly. Otherwise, what do you think I'm doing? Zhang Chen asked back. Gao Long was speechless. Why, if you don't leave, do you plan to stay here? Zhang Chen's eyes turned cold again. Hearing this, Gao Long was immediately frightened. Holding back the pain in his body, he rolled and crawled away. Ha ha! Looking at his back, Zhang Chen laughed happily. The behavior conforms to the villain setting. Reward, Diary of the Poison Master. Zhang Chen had a question mark on his face. The Poisonous Master's diary? What does he want with this thing? It's not like he's taking a poisonous path. During the recent period, the rewards in the system have been normal, and Zhang Chen almost forgot that there would be useless things. Zhang Hu, this is for you. Zhang Chen casually threw the diary to Zhang Hu behind him. Zhang Hu quickly caught the diary. After just flipping through it twice, he was so excited that tears filled his eyes. This Poison Master diary not only records a large number of poison pills and poisons, but also records how to transform oneself and become an acquired poisonous body. Although it is just a diary, its value is definitely no less than any other top-secret book. With this diary, he will help Xiao Hongai look for poisons in the future, so he no longer has to worry about poison entering his body. If he successfully changes his physique and becomes an acquired poisonous body, his dream of becoming a poisonous master may also come true. Elder brother, please accept my worship. Zhang Hu burst into tears and knelt down. Not only did you help me find 10 wives, but you also gave me such a precious diary. I am so touched. Since you are my little brother, I will naturally treat you kindly. Zhang Chen smiled lightly. Hearing this, Zhang Hu was even moved and cried bitterly. He was convinced again. Your choice is right. Only by hugging Zhang Chen's thigh tightly can you truly follow your heart. What he didn't know was, Zhang Chen wanted to help him marry 10 wives, and his purpose was to create trouble. The diary of the Poison Master was given as a gift just to allow Zhang Hu to poison and kill people better and to reduce Xiao Hongai's workload. No doubt. The Ghost Control sect will be furious when they learn that Zhang Hu actually wants to marry 10 female disciples of the Ghost sect. The Yugui sect didn't dare to offend him, but they dared to offend Lin Mubai and Zhang Hu. By then, the two of them will definitely be embarrassed and targeted everywhere. And he can take the opportunity to get a wave of system rewards. Also, if Zhang Hu really becomes a master of poisonous ways, he will definitely be reviled by thousands of people and hunted down by the righteous way. These are none of his business. Hey, I am indeed the best senior brother in this world. Zhang Chen looked up at the sky and felt something in his heart. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Fu Zituo. Chapter 217. Yugui Sect, the main hall of the sect. At this moment, in the main hall, the ghost-controlling ancestor, several supreme elders, and the master of the ghost-controlling sect gathered together. Everyone's faces were as dark as water, and they shouted that this was simply too much. In fact, the moment Yan Maihun's lamp went out, Yugui Patriarch realized that this marriage must be a scam. Everyone knows Yan Mei's character. In their opinion, because she was so beautiful, she failed to seduce Zhang Chen and made the latter disgusted, so she lost her life. The number one true heir of the ghost control sect died in another section. This was a big deal. If it were normal, the ghost control sect would be furious and let the murderer know how powerful the demon sect is. But helpless. Zhang Chen was the young master of the Zhang family, and the Julian sect had just beaten up the Buddha temple not long ago. After measuring the gap between the enemy and ourselves, the ghost control sect did not dare to act rashly. They thought, although the marriage is a shameful thing, the dowry should always be returned, right? The other elders of the ghost control sect should also return, right? But who would have expected? No news. The disciples sent out to find out the news also died one after another. There are various signs. The Julian sect must have detained the elders of the ghost sect, and they also want to take advantage of the evil and swallow the dowry. This made everyone regret it. Their original purpose was to form an alliance with the Julian sect to fight against the 10,000 Dao demon sect and other righteous ways. In the best case scenario, they could even hug the Zhang family's lap. But in the end, both people and money were lost. And not long ago. Everyone learned what happened just now from disciple Gao Long. Everyone agreed. At such a critical moment, what Zhang Chen said must be what the Julian sect meant. Julian sect, you are going too far, a supreme elder said. The elders of the Gui sect will not let go of the dowry if they don't return it, and now they are actually saying that they will marry 20 female disciples of our sect, and they want us to prepare 20 copies dowry? Does this mean my clan is a soft persimmon? Ancestor, I can't bear it any longer. If we bear with you any longer, won't we become bastards? Another Taizhang elder said, I want to start a war. Although the Julian ancestor's strength is unfathomable, he is still in a divine state after all. We have no chance of victory. This statement immediately ignited everyone's anger. That's right. That makes sense. The Julian sect is so shameless. They kill people and seize treasures. They come to provoke us and want to forcefully marry my female disciple of the demon sect. If we don't fight back, won't we be ridiculed by other sects? Go all out and fight. If we don't fight now, when will we wait? When the ghost sect is angry, corpses will float thousands of miles away. Everyone looked angry. The ghost control ancestor was annoyed and scolded directly, shut up. There was silence in the hall for a moment. After closing his eyes and thinking for a moment, the ghost controlling ancestor said, I just received the news that the Julian ancestor personally led the team to destroy the Lanyun sect. Now the Lanyun sect has been renamed the Lanyun demon sect and has been reduced to the Julian section, a subsidiary sect of the section. What? Everyone was shocked. No one is surprised that Julian sect has the strength to destroy Lanyun sect. After all, the strength of the two is not on the same level. But the problem is, Ancestor Julian just fought with Ancestor Buddha, and this time he led the team to destroy the first and second-rate sects. What does this prove? It proves that the ancestor of Julian is still in cultivation and strength. Even if he is reduced to a state of divine soul, he has not been affected. Strange. The master of the ghost control sect frowned and analyzed it carefully. According to common sense, even if the ancestor of Julian knows the ancient soul method and can control other people's bodies, the soul power will still be consumed. Julian soul embryo, the ghost control patriarch said. So that's it? The Julian soul embryo is a great tonic for ghosts. It can also help monks in a spiritual state to restore their soul power. No wonder they want to swallow our dowry, a supreme elder suddenly realized. Now others understood. They have been making trouble for a long time, and they are actually scheming against the enemy. Everyone fell silent again. Let's start a war. With the strength of Julian ancestor, the chances of winning are slim. Let's not start a war. You have been bullied like this. If you don't do something, you will definitely be laughed at. Ancestor, I have a plan that may make the Julian sect pay the price, the leader of the ghost control sect said suddenly. Seeing everyone looking at him, he slowly uttered a sentence, leverage. That female ghost from Xuanhuan is also quite dissatisfied with the Julian section. I would like to send someone to persuade her to attack the Julian sect together. This strategy is feasible, the ghost control ancestor nodded. The ghost control sect alone is by no means a match for the Julian sect. But if you add the female ghost from Xuanhuan, then you have a certain chance of winning. What should we do about Zhang Chen? Drive him away, someone asked again. No. Didn't he say they are a family? Since we are a family and we are here to get married, let's stay as guests and discuss things slowly, the ancestor of Yugui said with a sinister smile. After hearing these words, everyone was stunned for a moment, and then quickly realized. Naturally, they didn't dare to really make a move against Zhang Chen, but they were able to let Zhang Chen temporarily stay in the ghost control sect in the name of being a guest and negotiating. This move has several benefits. 1. Zhang Chen is the link between the Julian sect and the Zhang family. If Zhang Chen is in the Julian sect, in order not to offend the Zhang family, the Yugui sect will definitely restrain its hands during the war. 2nd. If the Julian sect was destroyed, it would be a matter of course for Zhang Chen to become a disciple of the ghost control sect and thus become a member of the Zhang family. Although this would attract the attention of the Empress, the ghost control sect is now under too much pressure to care so much. 3rd. The Zhang family came to make trouble in person, so they could avoid falling out with each other. Kill 3 birds with 1 stone. But ancestor, Zhang Chen has a bad reputation. Will his stay in my Yugui sect bring trouble to the sect? The leader of Yugui sect hesitated. Trouble? Bad reputation? My Yugui sect is afraid of trouble, does it lack bad reputation? Yugui patriarch disdainfully said, even if he is the young master of the Zhang family, can he bring disaster to my sect? There are rumors that Julian sect has become a demon sect, and the Zhang family did something behind the scenes. The supreme elder also worried. It's just a rumor. Yugui patriarch shook his head, even if it's true, my Yugui sect is a demon sect, what is there to be afraid of? Everyone nodded and thought it made sense, and said no more. Half an hour later, a group of people appeared in front of Zhang Chen, and the leader was Tu Zheng, who was the leader of Yugui sect. Cough. After a light cough, Tu Zheng laughed loudly. Zhang Chen, Yugui sect is your home from now on. Home? Zhang Chen was stunned. That's right. The ancestors and the great elders have been in seclusion recently. You can stay in the Yugui sect as a guest. When the ancestors come out of seclusion, we can discuss other matters. Tu Zheng nodded. Isn't this bad? Zhang Chen looked strange. Why is it bad? I think it's good, Tu Zheng waved his hand and said happily, didn't you say that we are all family? Yes, family. Zhang Chen also laughed. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 218. Under the warm welcome of Tu Zheng and other senior officials of the Ghost Sect, Zhang Chen and others stayed at the Ghost Sect. It is worth mentioning that, knowing that the Ghost Control Sect had discovered him, Xuanhuan no longer hid her figure, but entered the Ghost Control Sect in a swaggering manner. This day, Zhang Chen was walking leisurely in front, while Lin Mubai and Zhang Hu were following behind. At this time, several days have passed since everyone stayed in Yugui sect. During this period, since Xuanhuan was refining alchemy every day and Zhang Hu was also familiar with Diary of the Poisonous Dao Master, Zhang Chen took the opportunity to practice for a while. Zhang Chen's original intention was that since he had nothing to do, he might as well practice. But it turns out, there has been no progress in cultivation, and the repressive power of God still exists. Sure enough, he still had to rely on system rewards. It's noon now. The bright sun is clearly in the sky tomorrow, but there is an inexplicable cold air in Yugui sect. Zhang Chen knew that this was because the ghost control sect members practiced ghost techniques, and the ghost techniques were cold and cold. Senior Brother Zhang. Master Zhang. Along the way, many disciples of the ghost control sect saluted and greeted Zhang Chen diligently when they saw him. Zhang Chen nodded in response. He is a villain, and the ghost control sect is also a villain sect. Therefore, the members of the ghost control sect have a natural affinity with him, and he himself is extremely pleased with some of his disciples. Of course, Zhang Chen still hasn't forgotten his purpose. Although these are all villains, they are all normal people and can be used to gain system rewards. It's just that it's more difficult than the righteous disciples. Soon, Zhang Chen led everyone to the open space in the center of the ghost control sect. This is where the disciples of the ghost control sect practice their martial arts. As far as you can see, they are all densely packed with figures. Junior Brother Lin, what do you think of that junior sister with a pockmarked face and a bloated figure? Senior Brother thinks she is a good match for you, Zhang Chen pointed casually. Hearing this, the junior sister immediately trembled. Although Lin Mubai had a look of disgust on his face, he still nodded and said, whatever Senior Brother says is whatever it is. How can that be done? Zhang Chen glared, how can a grown man have no opinion at all? Then I want a beautiful one, Lin Mubai said again. Hey, Junior Brother, Zhang Chen patted his shoulder and sighed, listen to Senior Brother, this junior sister Maisie is more suitable for you. Anyway, it's the same even if the lights are turned off. Lin Mubai was speechless. In response, Zhang Chen nodded and expressed his relief. He successfully convinced his junior brother with his sincere words. Looking at Zhang Hu, he said again, you, go and kidnap that junior sister Maisie, that person is Mubai's first wife. Lin Mubai's mouth twitched, but he did not refute. Zhang Hu was shocked and said, ah. Just tie him up. Senior Brother, this is the ghost control sect, are we too arrogant? Is there any? Zhang Chen asked back. Yes. Very yes, Zhang Hu kept nodding. Hey, Junior Brother Zhang Chen sighed, we are all a family, so naturally we should be more casual. And this is not arrogance, but caring. I am caring about Junior Brother's marriage. This time it was Zhang Hu's turn to be speechless again. Why don't you go quickly? Zhang Chen glared. Have no choice. Zhang Hu had no choice but to step forward, and then in full view of everyone, he tied up the struggling junior sister Maisie and threw her next to Lin Mubai. I would rather die than surrender, junior sister Maisie said. Oh, then just chop it off, Zhang Chen replied instantly. Okay. Lin Mubai was overjoyed and raised the machete directly. Don't. I give in, junior sister Maisie was so shocked that she was scared for a second. Aren't you willing to die rather than surrender? Lin Mubai frowned, feeling sorry that he couldn't kill his wife. I'm a member of the Devil's Path. It's stupid to go back on my word, junior sister Maisie blurted out. As soon as these words came out, everyone was speechless. Zhang Chen even shouted in his heart. Careless. No flash. He didn't expect that the higher the Tao, the higher the demon. The man in the Devil's Path is so shameless that he can't establish a good villain character at all. Rolling his eyes, Zhang Chen said again, I see that this junior sister has a towering head and a strange appearance. She is definitely not a thing in the pool. I guess this person must be an undercover agent of the right way. Righteous undercover? When these 4 words hit her ears, junior sister Maisie immediately became unhappy. She glared angrily and retorted, Zhang Chen, you are slandering me. Who doesn't know that I am ruthless and specialize in killing men? You can say that I am ugly, but you cannot say that I am an undercover agent of the right way. Scholars can be killed, but not humiliated. In that case, let's chop it off. Zhang Chen curled his lips. Okay. Lin Mubai was overjoyed again, holding the machete high in his hand. He really knows how to kill people. Junior sister Meizu really felt it? Yes, I am an undercover agent of the righteous way. I didn't expect that I would be discovered by you when I hid so deeply. Junior sister Meizu was frightened again. Haha. Seeing her angry, unwilling expression, Zhang Chen laughed out loud. That's what it feels like. I miss you so much. That's what he likes. Others can't stand him and can't get rid of his unruly appearance. Immediately, he looked at Zhang Hu again and asked, Junior brother Zhang, what kind of woman do you like? Beautiful. Zhang Hu asked tentatively. Huh, Zhang Chen raised his eyebrows. Okay, it's up to you, senior brother Zhang Hu quickly changed his tone. Good, very good. Zhang Chen praised. He cast his eyes on a female disciple of the Yugui sect, whose face seemed to be burned by fire, and whose body was extremely scarred. The female disciple stared at him for a second. Then, she ran away. The other female disciples were also shocked when they saw this. Originally, there were crowds of people around, but in just a few breaths, there was no trace of a female disciple. Zhang Chen frowned. He could only look at a thin male disciple and said, Junior brother Zhang, since it's all up to me, you shouldn't mind the man, right? Zhang Hu immediately had a question mark on his face. The male disciples were so shocked when they heard this that they jumped up and fled in embarrassment. At the same time, the system's prompt text appeared. The behavior is consistent with the villain setting, and the host's cultivation level has been raised to the late stage of the earth element. Haha, cool. Zhang Chen felt relieved. Such feelings and situations cannot be experienced in Juyin sect. At this moment, he really wanted to treat this Yugui sect as his home. Zhang Hu breathed a sigh of relief and quickly changed the subject. Brother, how to deal with this pockmarked junior sister? Let the second senior brother marry her tonight. Hearing this, Lin Mubai was furious. Good guy, this is a diversion of trouble. His eyes turned cold and he silently raised the machete. Zhang Hu saw this, shrank his neck, and dared not say anything. And Zhang Chen would naturally not let Lin Mubai and the pockmarked junior sister get married now. After all, the dowry has not been obtained yet. After thinking for a while, he finally ordered, throw it to the master. Isn't this bad? Zhang Hu hesitated and said, the peak master is refining pills recently. If this person is sent there, he may be used to test the poison pills. What are you afraid of? Just don't kill him. Zhang Chen didn't care at all. He looked at his two junior brothers and said, you guys should do it freely. If something goes wrong, I will take responsibility. We are all family. As long as we don't kill him, we will kill him. This was heard. Lin Mubai smiled grimly. And Zhang Hu frowned, squinted, and sometimes had a gleam in his eyes. I don't know what he was thinking. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Fu Zituo. Chapter 219. After that, the Yugui sect was in a state of chaos. Lin Mubai held 2 machetes and went around inviting fights, chasing the true disciples of the ghost control sect and hacking at them. Zhang Chen would go out every day, and then tie up 2 weird-looking female disciples of the ghost sect and throw them to Xuanhuan to test the poison. Zhang Hu's behavior was a bit strange. He couldn't see anyone all day long, and he didn't know what he was busy with. I don't know since when, rumors of missing people began to appear in the ghost control sect, and the number of people was increasing. As a last resort, the Yugui sect law enforcement hall was dispatched. They first found Zhang Chen and asked him to restrain himself and stop tying up women from the demon sect. Really? Which one of you has seen me doing such a thing? Zhang Chen told lies with his eyes open. Many disciples of the law enforcement hall said they had seen it with their own eyes. Then I'll gouge your eyes out. Zhang Chen became angry with embarrassment. In the end, all the law enforcement hall disciples were beaten away by him. All the disciples are so angry. It's so arrogant and inhuman. The demon sect also has rules, okay. If it were anyone else, he would have been punished by the punishment of being devoured by thousands of ghosts, but Zhang Chen's backstage was too tough, and even the sect leader didn't dare to do anything wrong. Helplessly, the disciples of the law enforcement hall had no choice but to go find Xuanhuan. In their view, as Xuanhuan is Zhang Chen's master and the legitimate daughter of the Xiao family in the central region, why should she take care of it, right? But who knows? No one of the more than 10 law enforcement hall disciples who went to look for Xuanhuan came back safely. They were all detained by Xuanhuan and became tools for poison testing. How can this not make sense? How can it not make sense? After learning this, Tu Zheng, the leader of Yugui sect, was extremely angry. How could Zhang Chen and others behave like they were guests? He's obviously here to cause trouble. At this time, it had only been more than 10 days since Zhang Chen and others entered the ghost control sect. But the number of people injured and unconscious due to Zhang Chen and others has reached dozens. More importantly, a disciple just came to report that hundreds of disciples from the ghost control sect were missing recently. More than 10 disciples within the sect are also missing. This matter has put everyone in Yugui sect in danger. If you don't care anymore, people's hearts will be scattered. Call. Slowly exhaling a breath of turbid air, Tu Zheng closed his eyes slightly and his consciousness enveloped the entire ghost control sect. Soon, he found the culprit. On the other side, night. Zhang was in a small cave, holding a book in his hand and tinkering with something. In front of him, there were several monks from the ghost control sect, both male and female, whose cultivation levels had been sealed and their faces turned purple. He is doing poison experiments. The poison path is different from other paths. Not only do you need to understand various poisons and their effects, but you also need to find ways to detoxify them through constant experiments. Taste 100 poisons and detoxify 100 poisons. Repeat this to become an acquired poisonous body. This is his goal. Because Zhang Chen asked him to let him go as long as he didn't kill him, he often kidnapped some people for experiments in the dead of night. Putting down the book in his hand, Zhang fed some purple powder into the mouth of a seemingly normal monk. Ah! In an instant, the monk screamed. Zhang watched helplessly as the man's energy and blood flowed backwards, bleeding from all his orifices, and finally he fell into a coma due to excessive blood loss. He frowned. It doesn't make sense. The diary of the Poison Dao master records that this thing can poison people into fools. Why does this person still seem to be sane? Is it because the weight is not enough? He murmured. After saying that, he forced some powder into the mouth of the monk who was already writhing in pain. Ah! The monk screamed again. This scream was obviously different from the last time, mixed with a bit of sluggishness and madness. Zhang is overjoyed. It took more than a dozen monks to finally find a suitable measurement. Next, he will start to detoxify. As long as the detoxification is successful, he can give it to himself and take the first step towards the acquired poisonous body. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became, and Zhang read the book again. This purple powder is made from the poisonous wisteria vine. If you want to detoxify it, you need to use hot objects to remove it, he murmured. Hot stuff? He thought about it. Since his 6th grade spiritual fire can be used to make elixirs, it is naturally a hot thing. As long as you control the spiritual fire, you can detoxify without hurting anyone. Just do it. Zhang mind moved. A cluster of green flames emerged from his fingertips, and then turned into tiny fire snakes, burrowing into the body of the unconscious monk. He held his breath and concentrated on controlling the green fire. But suddenly, Xuanhu! A thick roar suddenly sounded. Xuanhu trembled in fright and his hands shook. Zi! The green fire was so strong that it burned the monk into black ashes in an instant. Well. Looking at Tu Zheng and the many elders and disciples of the ghost control sect who were arriving, Xuanhu scratched his head and said, "I said I didn't do it on purpose. Do you believe it?" His answer was one sentence. Take away. The next morning, the news that Xuanhu was arrested by the leader of Yugui sect and was on trial reached Zhang Chen's ears. Zhang Chen was extremely excited. The reason why he tempted Xuanhu and others to cause chaos was to wait for this opportunity. Although it was cool to bully the ordinary disciples of the ghost control sect, in the end, the situation was a bit low. From the beginning, he wanted to get a wave of system rewards from Tu Zheng and other high-level officials of the sect. Certainly. In order to prevent the ghost sect from going overboard, Zhang Chen also contacted Chen Sheng and asked him to stay alert at all times. In addition, Xiao Hong's cultivation has improved rapidly recently and has made a breakthrough. I believe that the two of them will definitely have enough time to take him away. Of course. The premise of all this is that Lin Mubai and Xuanhu will not cause a huge disaster and force the ghost control patriarch to personally intercept them. Hee. After a sinister smile, Zhang Chen and Xiao Hongi went to the sect master hall to rescue people. At this time, many elders and disciples of the ghost control sect gathered in the huge sect master hall. Sect master Tu Zheng sat high on the sect master's seat. Perhaps because of anger, his expression was almost distorted. And Xuanhu was tied up and knelt in the center of the hall. Such a scene made Zhang Chen's heart click. He vaguely realized. I'm afraid that the trouble Xuanhu caused was far beyond his expectations. Seeing Zhang Chen coming, Tu Zheng suppressed his anger and said, Zhang Chen, hundreds of people have disappeared in our sect recently. And the culprit is your junior brother, Xuanhu. He practices poison and tests poison on people. What? Zhang Chen was shocked. He had expected Xuanhu to do experiments. But he didn't expect it. Xuanhu was so cruel. In just a few days, he caught hundreds of people. He is really going further and further on the road of the master of poison. He also killed one person. I saw it with my own eyes, Tu Zheng said again. Zhang Chen's mouth twitched. Kidnapped people to test poison, but killing people in the sect is definitely a heinous crime. No sect will tolerate it. Realizing that the situation was out of control, Zhang Chen patted Xuanhu's shoulder and said, Junior brother, take care. After that, he turned around and left. Don't. Senior brother, Xuanhu's miserable cry for help came from behind. Let's save him. If you leave now, won't the people of the Yugui sect think you're a coward, Xiao Hongi suggested. Hearing this, Zhang Chen was stunned. It made sense. It was about his face, so he really couldn't just leave like that. He turned back again, patted Xuanhu's shoulder, and said, Junior brother, I was just teasing you. Don't worry, no one can touch you today. Senior brother. Xuanhu burst into tears and was deeply moved. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Fu Zituo. Chapter 220. Seeing that Zhang Chen was determined to protect Xuanhu, Tu Zheng's face darkened. He is the leader of the sect. If Xuanhu is not dealt with today, how can he convince the people in the future? But Tu Zheng frowned again. The Ghost Control Patriarch repeatedly warned that Zhang Chen must not leave the Ghost Control sect before joining forces with Ghost Ridge Soul Abyss to destroy the Juyan sect. If they fall out at this time, it will affect the overall situation. After thinking for a while, Tu Zheng said, if Xuanhu can tell the whereabouts of the other 100 missing disciples of our sect, the crime can be mitigated as appropriate. In someone else's territory, and the other party also took a step back, Zhang Chen did not want to be aggressive, so he winked at Zhang Hu. "Big brother, I am innocent," Zhang Hu shouted back. "I only knocked out a dozen people, not 100. I think this Tu Zheng is looking for trouble." "How dare you?" Tu Zheng heard this and shouted angrily, "How could I have wronged you? All the 100 disciples of our sect who went out disappeared. The time when this happened was close to your poison test. Who else could it be but you?" "You mean there is no evidence?" Zhang Chen asked back. This. Tu Zheng said in a choked voice. "Master Tu, brains are good things, but you don't have them." Zhang Chen was disdainful and analyzed. "Zhang Hu is just a ground-level cultivator who has just broken through, and there is only one of him. Even if he has great abilities, it is impossible for him to tie up the 100 Yugui sect disciples in a short time." In fact, Zhang Chen didn't know whether Zhang Hu did it or not. But in short, it's just one sentence. You must never admit to something without evidence. This made Tu Zheng's face sink like water. How many years have passed? It has been so long that he can't remember it clearly. For many years, no one dared to insult him in person. There are few good-tempered people in the demonic path. If he hadn't taken Zhang Chen's background and the sect's plan into consideration, he would have killed Zhang Chen today. In fact, Tu Zheng also guessed. Zhang Hu may not have the ability to cause the disappearance of hundreds of sect disciples, but Zhang Chen does. With the strength of the Zhang family, anyone can do this. Therefore, Tu Zheng has always believed that Zhang Chen is the mastermind behind this matter. Catching Zhang Hu and punishing him in public is just to kill the chicken to scare the monkey. In any case, Zhang Hu killed people in front of me and destroyed the body. This matter must be severely punished. After taking a deep breath, Tu Zheng's eyes flashed fiercely. "Big brother, this is also a misunderstanding," Zhang Hu explained. "He suddenly appeared and scared me, which caused the spiritual fire to go out of control. So, it's still my fault," Tu Zheng shouted when he heard it. Zhang Hu shrank his neck in fear. Zhang Chen was too lazy to talk nonsense and said bluntly, "We are all family, so don't be so fussy. I think, why don't you let Zhang Hu apologize?" "Family? Apologize?" When these words came to his ears, not only Tu Zheng, but also other ghost sect disciples and elders were furious. Listen, is this human language? At this moment, they wanted to ask. The family you mentioned is for killing? Also, what is needed to kill is to pay with life, not an apology. He. Tu Zheng was so angry that he laughed. "Since we are a family, then I will kill Zhang Hu, so you don't have to be so fussy." While speaking, he directly grabbed Zhang Hu with a big hand. The exclusive aura of the upper four realms made everyone breathless. Everything happened so fast that Zhang Chen didn't react. Zhang Hu was dazed as he looked at the big hand that was getting closer and closer, and only when he was about to be caught did he feel a strong sense of crisis in his life. At the critical moment, cry! The sound of a phoenix suddenly rang out. The hot phoenix fire emerged from Xiao Hongai's body, and in an instant, it burned the big hand transformed by the spiritual energy. Then the phoenix fire turned into a phoenix bird about dozens of feet wide, flapping its wings and hanging in the air, with a pair of sharp bird eyes, staring at Tu Zheng. The temperature in the hall suddenly rose, but Tu Zheng and other people from the Yugui sect only felt cold sweats. At this moment, although Xiao Hongai's face was calm, she seemed to be integrated into the world, appearing ethereal. And the solid phoenix bird, just a glance at it, makes people feel afraid. "Xiao Hongai, you have reached the realm of supernatural powers." Tu Zheng was facing a great enemy. The answer to him was Xiao Hongai's words. "Whoever Zhang Chen said to die must die. Whoever he said cannot die, even if it is under the 9 netherworld, I will bring this person back." Tu Zheng was silent. Although he was the head of the Yugui sect, he was not Xiao Hongai's opponent. If Xiao Hongai wants to be suppressed, the Ghost Control Ancestor or the Supreme Elder must take action. But this will completely tear the relationship apart. On the other hand, Zhang Chen is staring at the solid phoenix in a daze. Some time ago, he obtained a male phoenix blood essence through the system reward, but he has not used it. The reason? Because one drop of male phoenix blood essence cannot make him a male phoenix physique, at least 3 drops are needed. If he can become a male phoenix physique, he can naturally have a heavenly fire like phoenix fire. At that time, the combat power will definitely be multiplied several times. Unfortunately, it is not easy to get 1 drop of such a treasure. If you want to get it again, you must work harder to brush the system reward. Thinking of this, Mr. Chen, Zhang Chen shouted softly. Boom! In an instant, there seemed to be thunder coming from a distance. A purple figure broke through the air. He first used the silver dragon cane to break the formation of the Yugui sect, and then rushed in, and appeared in the sect master's hall in an instant. Looking around coldly, Chen Sheng asked, "Young master, who are you going to kill?" Another supernatural power realm has arrived. Tu Zheng and others' pupils shrank. They were very keen to find that although they were all in the supernatural power realm, judging from the aura displayed by Chen Sheng, he was definitely stronger than Xiao Hongai. Such a person, even the Supreme Elder could not completely suppress him, and the Yugui Patriarch had to do it himself. Chen Sheng, how dare you treat the imperial decree as a joke? Rushing into the Central Region sect without authorization, Tu Zheng asked loudly. Imperial decree? Chen Sheng sneered. In his eyes, there is no imperial decree. There are only Zhang Chen and the Zhang family's orders. Of course, these words cannot be said directly. After all, the eyes and ears of the dynasty are everywhere, and he does not want to cause trouble to the Zhang family. Although I am a member of the Zhang family, the imperial decree is limited to cultivators in the upper domain, and me? Sorry, I am also the 3rd ancestor of the Wandao demon sect in the central domain, Chen Sheng said lightly. Tu Zheng was speechless. And at this moment, Zhang Chen spoke. He first glanced at Tu Zheng, and then looked at the others coldly, saying, "Whoever dares to touch my junior brother, I will make him bleed on the spot." Zhang Chen, do you want to use your power to suppress others? An elder was furious. So what? Zhang Chen asked back. Today, I will suppress the Yugui sect so that they can't raise their heads. Arrogant. This made Tu Zheng completely furious. But soon, he was like being poured with a basin of cold water. Because an ancient bell suddenly appeared and hung in front of Chen Sheng. Young master, with the help of this ancient bell, even if the old witch of the Yugui sect comes out in person, I have the confidence to protect you and leave, Chen Sheng smiled proudly. Zhang Chen did not reply, but took out another jade slip and said, once this jade slip is broken, the purple riders of the Zhang family will come. You can bet on whether the dynasty is willing to go to war with my Zhang family for a mere Central Region demon sect. The face of the Yugui sect member sank again. Now, are you willing to bow your heads? Zhang Chen asked again. Behavior meets the villain setting, reward, male phoenix blood *1. His words were delayed and did not receive a response. The Yugui sect members were all furious, but they could not vent. After a long time, the voice of an old woman appeared in everyone's mind. This matter will be forgiven. I will obey the order of the ancestor. The Yugui sect member clenched his teeth and saluted. There is no doubt. At this moment, the Yugui sect really bowed its head.